Launch with Pride Challenge, specifically for LG. Okay, now that it's being recorded, welcome to day 4 of the Launch with Pride Challenge. This challenge is for LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs to get support in their marketing. I am Justin. I am your host, and I am glad to have people on, and I'm glad to kick this off. This 4-day challenge has been a fun time. I think each day we've been able to build on the previous day, and today the goal is to sort of bring it all together. Um, I have to do one quick thing to fix my lighting, and I'll be back. But based on the previous days, if you have any comments or takeaways from a previous session or any questions from the previous days, feel free to put those in the chat and I could speak to them when I get back in 1 minute. Okay, I am back. And so, welcome to day 4. I am excited to see where things go. And let me make sure I can see the chat. And yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for coming. So, a little recap of the previous days. Actually, we'll start at the assignment. So there were 3 questions yesterday, and it was about your process. What's your process, method, or framework for your solution? What values do you aim to express in your business? What culture do you want to create? How do you want your customers to feel when and after they interact with you? So the idea are these questions will help you see how you can stand out and be more authentic in your business, in your branding. One of the biggest one of the biggest issues I see when it comes to marketing is there are so many different methods, so many different strategies, so many different teachers, um, and they all have a perspective on what's good. And in theory, all of the different methods work. But for you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, what really works for you? So part of it is understanding yourself at a deeper level so that when you look at these various strategies, you'll see, all right, here's how I can do this authentically. Otherwise, what will happen is, many of us may get imposter syndrome. Where we're doing something and we're like, I don't think this is me, this doesn't really feel right. And when we're in that space, it's harder for us to show up and it's harder for people to connect with us because they can see that we're not being fully authentic. They can see that we're uncomfortable. So when you think about your unique process, your unique values, your unique culture, that allows you to stand in your authenticity. You get to say, this is me, this is my business, and this is the perspective that I bring without having to, you know, you feel less of an imposter. It's harder to feel an imposter if you're being yourself. Um, so that's what those are. I am bringing up the group now to look and see some of the input that people have given. Pop, 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 pop. Awesome, awesome. I'm seeing some of the homework from day 1, homework from day 2, homework for day 3. Okay, so there were a couple comments. I see Stephen, who's here right now. Oh, okay, who was here right now in the chat, was here, and he found this an interesting process. Um, where is day three? Okay. Um, I see Hanifa did the homework yesterday, so I'm just going to read what it says. What and how. As a licensed alternative and holistic medicine practitioner, I value being an effective agent of change in the medical community by bridging the knowledge gap in the healthcare system and empowering clients to make informed decisions about their health. Innerlight Holistic Healing LLC achieves this goal by researching evidence based herbal tea solutions that optimize health, quality of life, and clinical outcomes. I can confidently speak to the clinical improvements and documented research that outline the benefits of herbal tea. Innerlight Holistic Healing shares that this information with as many people as possible through social media platform, lectures, and workshops. So that was the what. And the method is evidence-based research by a professional. Sustainability and transparency is at the heart of Innerlight Holistic Healing. We provide a better value per dollar on organic herbal tea by sourcing from American farmers. Additionally, our farms share the same environmental and humanitarian values as us. Our partners use organic crops that do not have harsh pesticides. Their farming practices maintain high nutrient value, won't cause extinction to plant species, admits zero waste, and lastly, our partners care deeply about the well-being and livelihood of their farmers, maintaining their Fair for Life program, which is a fair trade initiative. We deliver our products within 2 to 3 days and use minimal packaging, and the packaging we do use is compostable, and environmentally friendly. All right, I'm gonna pause there. So I love this. I love the ideas, the research, and the words that you're putting in to what you're doing. And one of the benefits of that is when it comes to marketing, um, by having these foundations, by writing this down and getting it out of your head and being specific, you can now, whenever you're using a different marketing strategy, you can say, all right, if our partners are doing these 5 different, sharing these same 5 values, that can be 5 separate social media posts, for example. For each of those values, it's saying, so if we use organic crops that do not have harsh pesticides, you can talk about the downside, what's the opposite of benefit? The drawbacks to using pesticides. What pesticides do for the environment, and other reasons for why that's not a good thing. And then you can bring up how you and your partners also are not doing that bad thing. Instead of doing the bad thing, you're doing the good thing. So you can speak to that value, and then people who, even if they're not in the mood for tea right now, if they see that you're talking about this value that aligns with their vision, they can then say, oh, let me learn more about this person, let me learn more about this business. Many people drink tea, they may not think about that, but if you bring that up to them and you show it in a way that makes sense, they can then draw the dots to, I want to be a person who supports these environmental values, and this is the tea that I would choose. Similarly with like reels and other like videos, you can speak to that problem, and then your job as the business and part of marketing's job is to say, here's a business, I need to attach this benefit to the person. If you just say we're organic herbal tea, people may not be able to connect the dots from where they're coming from to what you provide. So I think that's one of the reasons why the past 3 days have been focusing on these different areas of your business, such that when you get that clarity, you can then speak to it specifically, and it'll be easier for you to connect the dots from where people are right now to what's going on. If there are news articles or other things that happen that deal with pesticides and organic crops versus other types of crops, you can link to that, and then you can make a comment about this news article and say, here's this bad part, here's this evidence, here's this research that's happening out in the world, and here's what you're doing about it. And that person is able to connect current articles, current news things that are happening in the real world to your product and your business. So when it comes to marketing, it makes it easier for them to move forward in that journey. So there's definitely more there, because you talked about your complexities and your culture in that. I just wanted to bring some of that up a little bit. And I see you also did the assessment, and your top 5 values are honesty, spirituality, fairness, perspective, and appreciation of beauty and excellence. So one example that I would take is, let's say, the appreciation of beauty and excellence. So if you were to think about that value that came out in your top 5, when you look at your Instagram profile, when you look at your Facebook business page, when you look at your products, how does that value get expressed? By expressing your values, it'll make this job of entrepreneurship much more both authentic and fun. Um, if your packaging had no beauty or no excellence, there's probably a part of you that would not enjoy wanting to sell it. But if you know that, oh, this is a great packaging, it inspires you on these other levels, it'll be easier for you to talk about it, to sell it, and to be authentic, to authentically put yourself out there and stand behind this, because it's an expression of those values. So thank you for doing the homework and for sharing it in the group. I think that I hope that these examples that I just gave would be helpful for others as they are watching the replay or here right now, to see, oh, here's the value of doing that assignment. Because sort of that's the goal of this week. I don't just want to say information. I want to I want to help you make progress. I want to help you feel closer, feel more authentic in your marketing, because that's sort of, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. If these are just words that don't mean anything to you and you're not able to connect them to your business, I feel that I have failed. So thank you for doing the assignment. It definitely helps me know that if you were just to take any of these and look at your marketing and update it in one specific way that makes you feel more aligned with what you're doing, that's a win for me. So thank you for doing that, and it helps me in the long run, and I hope it helps you and others as they watch this video to see the value of some of these assignments. So today is day 4. So we've talked about all this week. Day 1 was about the what outcomes do you provide or problems you solve. Day 2 is about who are you going to serve, who's your ideal client, who has those problems and needs what you are giving. And day 3 is how will you provide the outcome to the customer, focusing on your framework, your process, your authenticity. What are you bringing into this process? And today our goal is to put it all together. So one of what I hope for us to do today, and for everyone to do who's live and those who watch the replay, is to fill out this sort of overarching vision statement that takes the who, the what, and the how, and puts it into a succinct line. So we've been answering those earlier questions throughout this week. So today I really hope that we can put this together, because if you've done the assignments, if you looked at the videos, you have an answer to what it is you help people achieve, who it is that you choose to help, and what your method is, or how you will provide that outcome. So this is what we're going to help you do today, and I think it's a very helpful way for you to see the vision of your company, to see the vision of your business. So when it's time to create a marketing strategy, it's time to create a webinar, it's time to create a lead magnet, any of these things, does this align with this overall vision statement? So, for example, if I were doing this, I teach entrepreneurs marketing strategies. There is a who there, entrepreneurs, and there is a what, teaching marketing strategies. It's not really a how, and it's very generic. There are a lot of people, maybe even on day 1, I think Michelle was here, and she was like, I provide people with financial services. And sort of the goal for each day was, how can we be more specific and clear about those different elements? Because the more specific we are, the easier it is for us to find clarity and us to take action, because we know what that next step is going to be. So one way that I change this to make it more specific based on what we've talked about is following. I help LGBTQ entrepreneurs, so that's the who, double their sales, that's a what, an outcome, using authentic challenge marketing, and that's a how. So it speaks to all three of those things. So if someone's a queer entrepreneur and they're looking to, double their sales, it makes sense and it connects. I'm drawing the dots. I'm connecting those dots for them. I'm creating that bridge from whatever it is that I do to bringing it to who it might serve. And like this statement isn't even that great. Part of me would maybe want to say double their online sales using authentic challenge marketing. And I might even say using authentic challenge marketing strategies. Um, Sometimes, we get to play around with this. But the main thing is it has to have all three of the more of those three it has, the easier it can speak to somebody. And also, when it comes to, again, I like this comment you wrote, Hanifa, that says, thanks for prompting these questions. Really helpful putting my thoughts on paper and seeing how to funnel it into marketing strategies. By having this kind of overarching vision statement, whenever you're sitting down to do something, you can look at that and say, that's my goal. This is my vision for what I'm doing. Now, if I look at my website, does it speak to that? Or I have to make a post and I don't know where to start. This is my vision. This is where I'm focused on. Let me make sure I'm writing something that connects. I think that is one of the major goals of this vision statement. So, my goal is for you to let's do this. Let's do this. Those of you who are here live, I would love for you just to uh, try this out. Even if you don't want to fully try it out, I would say just write your who, your what, your how, and let's come up with one of these statements for at least two of you. So think of who. So think of a way to describe the specific types of people you solve. Um, the what your product helps them with, or what result or outcome they would like, and then your how. So the actual words like I help or achieve or through, those are just modifiers to keep the sentence to make it make sense, but we can easily change that. So I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to write something in the chat. And if you would rather come on, uh, we can come on and we can just create this together. Okay, great. So I see two statements in the chat. So we have I help young adults achieve their wellness goals through herbal medicine, um, organic herbal tea, and I help business owners protect their business image and market share by utilizing effective intellectual property strategies. Okay. I like the start to both of those, and I want to see if we can find ways to be more specific. Um, okay, so who wants to raise their hand, and I will bring you on and ask you some questions so that we can help make it a little clearer. Okay, Bryn, your hand is up, and you get to go first. Welcome, Bryn. Thanks for joining again, and for
Thanks for having me.
awesome. So, let me bring the chat in front of me so that I can be looking at the camera. Okay, so you help business owners protect their business image and market share by utilizing effective intellectual property strategies. So the goal of the statement is to try to be clearer as possible. So I'm just
Hmm.
going to ask questions and hopefully you can give me some more clarity. So protecting their business image and market share. Um, what does that mean to a business?
So sometimes, like businesses will encounter, knockoff businesses that come in that want to like come into the marketplace and, utilize like a really similar brand name or logo or image to try and capture a portion, say, of coffee drinkers that somebody opens something really similar to Starbucks, just as an example. Then you can utilize intellectual property strategies to stop them from trying to be the Starbucks knockoff, basically.
Okay, okay. So, how could we restate that problem with a little more clarity? So, the first thing that comes to my mind is like I'm from New York, and when you're visiting New York, there are a lot of people who are selling knockoff handbags just on the street, and a lot of these knockoff products. So maybe if you were to think, I help business owners sort of prevent, um, I don't know a way to say knockoff businesses. Uh,
Counterfeiting for what you're talking about.
yeah, so counterfeiting, but think about it in the business, like in the example you gave with Starbucks. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know if counterfeiting is the most
Right. That
successful.
no, then it's more like kind of trading off of Starbucks, business name image.
Okay, okay. Um, and what's a different way to say image? So yeah, so like what I'm hearing is I help business owners. Um, what's a good way to say represent who they are? We want to stop people from stealing their identity, their business
Hmm.
profile. You want them to have uh, a genuine way to be there. So it's like I help business owners keep their business record, their business profile. A way to say that by um, protecting their intellectual properties. Okay, we got some help in the chat. Love it. Uniqueness and standing out. Um, right? So it's sort of how do, like, if we think of that outcome. So a problem is someone counterfeiting their ideas or using their trademarks. Um, and that's a problem. But, like, what's that solution? When no one can, um, when no one is able to counterfeit what you're doing, what does that give you? Yeah, I'm seeing some words authentic, register their name and their product. We're gonna go at this to help. So, um, I'm getting the word like identity. Like, I know what to do. We have thesauruses for this reason. Yeah, because the idea is if someone is misrepresenting you or giving a brand recognition, ooh, that's good. Um, that is a good one. That is a good one. So if we were to say, I help business owners protect their brand
Hmm.
by, utilizing intellectual property strategies. And I protect their brand uh, and finding a more concise way to say utilizing effective intellectual properties. So, if that's the um, how do we take away the word like effective and try to make it simpler by using, so almost by, maybe I help business owners. Uh, what was it? I help you business owners protect their brand um,
Hmm.
by controlling their IP, right? By maximizing their intellectual property, or by protect their brand by, um, what do you help them do with the IP? So,
Well, it's usually registering it in the first place if it's not already registered, and then you have to continually, depending on what you're talking about, you probably have to enforce it, against other companies. So that means, staying on top of, like, watching out for people who are, you know, basically trying to copy you.
okay, okay. So I help business owners protect their brand by controlling and, yeah, sort of by controlling their IP, controlling their intellectual property by, managing, controlling their intellectual property effectively, or something like that. So again, it's sort of, they want to protect their brand, right? They want to protect their business recognition. So thinking of,
Hmm.
how can I say that in a more direct way, that speaks to this? Ooh, that's what I want, right?
Okay.
Because there are two ways to go. That's one, speaking it to, ooh, this is what I want, and by, controlling their intellectual property. And I don't know if there's a better way to say intellectual property, but by controlling, their, what they're making, by controlling their assets, um, their digital assets, or something like that. Um, and the main way is, you want them to see that and be inspired, and then want to keep connecting more. So you can have this statement, and there are some people will put the statement like in their Instagram bios, or on their profiles, or like as the main thing in their on their website. Um, and sort of what you want to do is, speak to that outcome that they want and how you do it. Because you might even say, I help business owners prevent, um, you know a word that means counterfeiting, uh, counter prevent, counterfeit businesses, counterfeit alternatives, knockoffs to their business, by controlling their IP and enforcing their trademark and other business words that make sense. I feel like that's part of the reason why this challenge is fun, is because I don't really, I don't know anything. I've never been a lawyer. Neither have I ever worked with trademark and registration and IP. So it's thinking about, okay, what are the words that really connect to the business, and how do I paint this picture? Because no business wants other people to be selling knockoffs of what they're doing. No business wants to be misrepresented, um, online. No business wants the downside of what that would look like if their customers started supporting somebody else thinking they were supporting them. Um, so creating that picture, or finding that concise way to create that picture, of one, what could be, I help business owners like prevent counterfeiting from happening, or I help business owners like maintain their brand, profile, um,
Yeah,
by using these. So you can sort of
sure.
go in either of those two directions, and you can see, which way seems more concise and helpful. So I feel like
Okay.
we still have some work to go there,
Yeah.
but we'll we'll pause it and we'll go to someone else's. And
Thank you.
yeah, I think we have some work, and that's why we have this group. And we could definitely put this in the profile and keep working on it to see what comes up. And that's sort of why on day one, when you're talking about what outcomes do you provide, what solutions do you have, and what problems do you solve, coming up with a list of those, right? Because if we know these different problems, it's okay, which is the problem that is most top of mind, so that when you make this statement, you're speaking to something that they already know.
Mm.
So yeah, so uh, it's a good start, and I look forward to seeing where we can take that one next. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna mute you and see if Hanifa, you put something in the chat, and would you like to see if we can make this a little more concise? You can. Oh, I see your hand. Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, Justin.
Hey. So, thanks for showing up again and for putting things in the chat. So, what do we have? I help young adults achieve their wellness goals through herbal medicine, organic herbal tea. Okay. What are some wellness goals that young adults have?
A lot of chronic issues like sleep disturbances, like insomnia, stress, anxiety. Um, with women, there can be issues in the reproductive system, like endometriosis, dysmenorrhea, uh, fibroids. Um, there
Okay.
can be like immunity issues or gut issues. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, my suggestion knowing that you have different teas that may help with different problems, one way to see these are we can start specific and then maybe get broader um, as we need. So, if you were to help, if you were to say, instead of I help young adults, I help young women,
Mhm.
and then what's the main problem that young women have? Because you mentioned specific for women.
So with women, I can um, say specifically things related to the menstrual cycle or reproductive health or the health of the uterus.
Okay. And when it comes to the herbal medicine, um, what? Because I'm thinking about your how your process. So like you have this training, and you have these organic products. Um, so what's a concise way to look at the training you have and the products you have to speak to that? Because what I'm sort of seeing is I help young women um, have uh, mm, better specific issue health issues with organic herbal like organic herbal tea remedies.
Right. So maybe something like I help young women um, navigate or have an easier or less discomfort during their menstrual cycles with herbal medicine, particularly dong quai, for instance, is an herb that really helps with that, or red raspberry.
Okay. Um, so, uh, if you were to help, so finding a concise way to talk about menstrual cycle problems. So, or like, what's the opposite of that, right? So, if someone's having these problems, what does that feel like?
There's discomfort.
Okay. So now, what's the opposite of discomfort?
Like being at ease.
Mm-hmm. Give me something that's stronger, that's more inspiring.
Relief.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Let's see.
like at ease makes me
Oh,
think.
like quality of life, even.
Okay, at ease makes me think like I'm content. Possibly I'm meditating. Relief is a little bit better, and I'm trying to think of like what puts a big smile on my face. So because sometimes I think looking at the like a journey, so like a from to. So I could see, like, imagine a movie. Actually, you know what? Imagine one of these drug commercials where they have people like running in fields and forests while they're talking about different side effects of these drugs, and it's like, how are they so happy? Like, if you
Yeah,
just look at the words that they're saying, you're like, that's not. These two don't connect, but this is how they use marketing to help people. So it's I'm thinking of if someone doesn't have your tea, they are, uncomfortable, irritable, doesn't want to see anybody, um, may not want to go to work, may not want to like show up in life. But having tea that's made specifically for what they're going through, that helps with the body hormones and helps them understand themselves and live better, now they can, how are they showing up in life? How are they thriving where it's like, oh, it's not even that time of like how what's that transition place? So like,
I love that. I like Stephen. I love the harmonious. That's a really just
yes.
to achieve harmony with the body or with that time and can excel in day-to-day functioning. There's something like
Okay, I like that. I like the excel in day to day. We can definitely be more specific there too. So I'm thinking of how it can be I like, let's say I help young women um, show up, and like I want to get this idea of showing up and winning, right? So it's like uh, not just show up, but like thrive, excel, like you were saying. Like I help women excel in their lives. Like, okay, so a different way to put it is go from is have a from to. So I help young women go from discomfort and other negative problem that happens during the menstrual cycle to excelling and showing up, excelling and other like positive outcome, positive of what is the thing that I want that I can't do normally. So by putting that there, you might say, I go from um, pain, discomfort, and irritability to thriving and achieving my goals, to um, being the person I'm meant to be. Um,
showing up for life.
yeah, showing up for life, um, and thinking of a way to create this picture. I think one of the best examples of this strategy of coming up with this statement is one of my mentors, and he was talking about it as if there's a movie, right? Because we like the whole goal of this week and coming up with problems and stuff is to make it more specific. Because when you have something that's specific, people are able to see themselves in that and then keep going forward. So the idea is how can we be more specific and think of it like a movie, right? So, beginning of the movie, there's a young female living her life as normally, has friends, goes to work, fun, maybe in relationships, all that good stuff. So that's the beginning. And then enter menstrual cycle, and now, like, follow me with this picture in your head. There's discomfort, there's pain, there's like, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to go outside. Um, they're experiencing this because of their menstrual cycle, right? Enter your organic teas that are made specifically using good ingredients. And hold on one second, my laptop's about to die. And I would hate for this to end without doing it on purpose. Perfect. Okay. So, beginning, living life as normal. Enter the problem, which is menstrual cycle, and they're not sure what to do. There's discomfort, there's pain, there's irritability, or whatever other problems are defined in that state. Um, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to show up. They are in pain. People, it's harder to be in relationships with people and talk to people. And then she finds your tea, right? She finds the right tea that's for her, that has the right ingredients, made through your unique process using the knowledge you have. She's able to take the tea for a day or 2 days, and we're where is she? And spoiler alert, after we say where she is now, we say she lived happily ever after.
Totally. Yeah, I love
Right?
that.
So like what is that now? What is that now feeling? How do we describe that in a way where we can picture it happening in a movie? So
Okay.
some of the things you mentioned earlier were sort of excelling in life, showing up fully, um, being able to, I don't want to say just get back to normal, but like go to thriving. So even in that time, so is able to connect with her body. What is Stephen says, connected with her body, natural circle to give them love for life. Um, yes, I want it should evoke those feelings, but thinking of how we can make that specific. Because if you can say, I help young women go from uncomfortable and irritated during their menstrual cycle to thriving, showing up, and excited for life through my organic teas or through this specific organic tea, that right there sort of creates that picture and creates that bridge. So it's like that one statement sort of says, this is why you want this tea. It's going to take you from irritated and discomfortable to thriving, showing up, and excelling in life through, this organically engineered tea, or I don't know the right word to put there.
Yeah.
You created this tea specifically for these results.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that. It's like storytelling. I can see that. So that's really helpful to think of it that way.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the goal of this statement. And when it comes to you, especially if you have these different teas that help with these different parts, it's what's that little mini story? We're making one sentence that tells this entire story of these different products. Because then when it's time to showcase them, if there are different teas that you're using at different seasons, maybe you can have these different statements for these different teas, and that way, if someone goes to your site and there's 12 different teas to get, there's a quick way for them to see, oh, this is where I am right now. This is what makes sense for me. If you're doing a social media post, this makes sense. This works, and sort of to try to bring this all together. That's sort of what we've been doing all week. Is thinking about what are these outcomes that your solution provides. What are the problems that they solve? Who is it for specifically? And part of the idea of focusing on people specifically is now you're speaking to their problem, right? If you just said I help people overcome pains with menstrual cycles or whatever, I'm like, that doesn't work for me. I don't know what that means. So maybe this tea isn't, and maybe that tea isn't for me, and that's good, because then the people who sees that it's there for them, they're able to say, oh, that makes sense. And for me, if I had a sister or someone else who experiences a lot of pain and discomfort and just I don't know what to do to help, and like, oh, I see this thing, let me forward this to them because they might need this. um so yeah, so that's on the who. So thinking, being specific, and that will help people identify whether or not they need your solution, and can also identify if others people need your solution. And then yesterday is sort of the how. So there are some people who are very anti anything GMO, anything inorganic, processed foods, and all of that. So by using your how and saying, through my organic customized tea, or even for you, if you're doing like an organic luxury tea brand, that speaks to who they are and how your process works. So when they see that one sentence, they're able to say, "Wow, that makes sense for who I am, where I am right now, and what I want. Let me learn more about this." So that's why today's topic was putting it all together: the who, the what, the how, and using it in this framework is one of the strongest ways to bring that to your marketing, no matter what it may or may not be. Um, yeah. So thank you for that, and definitely we will put these in the group, and other people might be able to provide a little more support. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy challenges so much. Is like, yes, I get to be here and I get to serve as an expert and put this hat on and teach you topics, but also we get this community, because we all bring a different perspective based on who we are and what's going on. So I hope you can bear with me for another 10 minutes, maybe, because this went a little bit longer than I want, but I have a couple more slides and then we can end for the day. And definitely feel free to put more comments in the chat if you have more ideas or other questions. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, okay, we're not even going to talk about all of these, but today I was going to say, okay, here are some very different tactics. So, again, that vision statement is this high level vision of just, this is what I do, and this is what informs all of my products and my services and how I will show up. And like, this is a list of 12 different ways, marketing strategies and specific tactics that people use. So word of mouth, if you tell people what you do, they can tell others, and that's one way to find new customers. Similarly with referrals, so if you sold something to someone, they can then tell their friends and give their own perspective. Affiliate marketing, so someone might promote your brand or product on their social media profile or on their website or on their business, and some people will then give them a little commission. So it's like, hey, if you promote this on your social, all the people who buy from me, you'll get 10% of those sales or something like that. Network marketing, so that's sort of not always an MLM, but something closer to that, where you have a specific network for a reason, and then you reach out to that network, and that's who you sell to. And sometimes they can also become part of your network, and they can sell to others, and that's one way to keep growing and using that marketing strategy. There's content/organic marketing, so that's just posting on different social profiles, talking about your business, posting how-tos, posting helpful content, and that way people have a way to connect to you and with your product and become a customer there. Email marketing, so getting people to sign up for a newsletter or just give you their email, and then you can sort of take this process and send them daily or weekly emails that sort of help them understand what it is you do and why they should work with you or buy your product. SEO, so this is just like a technical term called search engine optimization. So it's sort of working with different listing sites like Google to sort of say, okay, how does my business come up, and adding specific keywords. So again, it's thinking about your what, your who, your how. So you can be like, if people want organic products, if people want environmentalist values, if people are in tea, if people like tea, if people like tea from this area, from that area. So there are different ways you can use keywords so that if someone were to Google this, you would rank higher in Google, and you would come up closer to the beginning results. The next one is lead magnets. Sort of the idea is creating something helpful, hopefully, and free, so someone can go to your website, and maybe for you, Hanifa, you can say, the 3 benefits of organic tea compared to other things. So you create like an ebook, or maybe someone would create a checklist, like Bryn with your IP protection. You can say maybe the 3 worst, the 3 IP challenges that businesses don't know they have, right? by adding that businesses don't know they have, that adds a little more intrigue. And then you can, speak from your knowledge and expertise to say, okay, when I've helped businesses in these ways, here are common things people do that aren't helpful, that are actually going to hurt them, that make it harder to control your IP after the fact. So like having a lead magnet, so it's just a checklist, an ebook, something small and digestible that can help someone get a problem, that can help someone identify a problem or solve a problem and understand that you are an expert in what you're doing. And by providing it for free, it is a low cost way to get them in your world and understanding you. Yes. So there's also webinars. So basically, come to my webinar. Will be a 60, 90-minute or shorter presentation. Zoom works well, or just doing a Facebook Live where I'm going to talk about this topic, and sort of the hope is you're giving someone value, showing that you're an expert, and then sort of inviting them to take my product, buy my product, join my program, use my service, get a free consultation call. And then these other three are tripwires. So the idea with the tripwire is if someone can spend a little bit of money with you, they're more likely to spend more money with you. So it's like, maybe you can, like, here's a $3 ebook or checklist, or $7, or maybe like a $47 webinar or something to that effect. But basically the thought behind that is spend a little money with me and definitely provide them value with that. And then once they have spent money with you and receive that value, they're much more likely to spend more money with you and continue that journey. Next thing is a video sales letter, and sort of this is just like on your website, having a video that sort of introduces who you are, what you're doing, those problems you solve, and being able to, having that on the page so someone can see that first, and then later on the page you can have your different sales processes. So you can order something, or they can schedule a call, but sort of introducing that with this like video on the thing. And then the last one that I have here is challenges. So you've all been a part of a challenge. You're part of one now. This is a challenge. And sort of the idea of the challenge is sort of what we've been doing, helping a certain group of people overcome a certain problem or learn something new over a course of time. Part of the benefits of the challenge is every day you've done an exercise. You've learned a topic. I've been talking about a topic and given you an assignment that helps you grow, that helps you actually take action towards moving forward. Today we sort of put all those pieces together, but if you didn't show up earlier in the week, if you didn't look at the previous replays, today would have been a much harder experience. But because you've already started looking at your who and looking at your what and looking at your how, today's experience, you were able to build on that. So why do I run a challenge? One, providing value in advance. Two, it sort of helps with this expertise idea. You can, you're asking me questions and I'm responding as best as possible. So it's been a fun experience for you to see, oh, this is what Justin's been learning in marketing. This is what it would look like to have Justin support me in my marketing. And yeah. And also it gives a taste and see experience. So you've experienced what it's like for me to teach. You've experienced what it's like for me to coach. You experienced what it's like for me to give advice and support. So it's a way for people to connect with you where it's possibly free or really cheap. Some people charge for their challenges. And it also allows for you to make a greater impact. Not everyone will work with me. Not everyone is ready to work with me. I'm also not ready to work with everybody. But anyone who shows up to this challenge, anyone who watches the replays, they should be able to learn on that topic and take some action, so I can impact people even if they don't buy from me. And then lastly, why I keep talking about the Facebook group is you get to learn from and connect with your audience. The questions that you've asked, some of the DMs that I've been able to send and connect with you, it helps me understand how to teach the session, and in the future when I'm developing different programs and doing future challenges, I can learn from this experience and make those future ones better. um, so yeah, that's what a challenge is. So it sort of combines benefits of these other strategies. It allows for a lot of flexibility. Every day I might have changed what was going to happen the next day just based on what we talked about. It allows for this connection, this interaction, and I think one of the most important things is the progress you can make throughout the course of these days is bigger than some of those other ones. Um, Sending out emails, it can be helpful, but you don't know if people are taking action. Even like with the webinar, we could have gone through all of this in an hour and a half or two, but you would have had to be doing work while I was teaching or taking little breaks, and sometimes it's too much effort at once. But by being able to focus on specific things, it helps people make progress and even like believe in themselves a little bit more. So I am going to be offering a program, and I'm just going to do all of this at once. So my goal is to offer a sort of a queer marketing bootcamp. So we talked a lot about these different marketing foundations, and my goal is to help people implement them directly, specifically. So what it would be is probably a total of 8 calls over the course of 6 weeks. It could be shorter if schedules align, but basically to help entrepreneurs implement what we've talked about and go deeper in each of the different topics. So first we'd have an onboarding course just to understand where you are, what were your immediate goals, and where we want to focus. Not every strategy works for every person, and if we are going to have an onboarding course, just understand where you are and what is the next best step. Again, it's sort of like the idea that all these different strategies work, but what do you need? What are you most comfortable with? What's most authentic for you? And also, like, how much time do you have? There are different types of investments of time that they take. So understanding where you are and what your goals are, and then figuring out what strategies I can help you with. There will be a number of coaching calls, and we'll focus on those who, what, and hows. In terms of the what, I sort of gave a high level view that I can do in 15 minutes. But a 1 hour coaching call on your what will help you get more clarity on those solutions and those problems, and that real world value that you provide with your business. So as we identify the different solutions and identify the different problems, you can have more clarity to, one, understand your offer. So when it's time to go out on social media or other places or do different marketing strategies, you'll be clear on what it is you do. And the other benefit about that is we can find ways to make your offer better. We can find ways to package your offer so that it can provide more value, and provide more value to your customers. 2, your who. What's your niche? Finding many different ways to understand those people. So sort of like earlier today with Hanifa, it was, if we talk about women, what are those women specific problems? What is it that they need? So the idea of those coaching calls will be to understand how someone's problem is specific to their life. Because if you can speak to the problem that's specific to their life, then they know why you're their specific resource, and they shouldn't just go with someone who's more general. So I gave maybe a few questions, and maybe the assignment that day had maybe 10 different items of ways to niche down. There's probably 30 different questions and on a worksheet that we'll do together that sort of just says, here's how to get really deep about who they are, and understand that. And then also your how. So looking at how we can take your values and take your uniqueness, take your your culture, the culture you want to create, and saying, okay, how do we make sure that shows up in your marketing? And then also, like, all 3 of these things work together. So it shows up in your marketing, but also it'll show up in your product. How does that show up in your product? um, who are the people that that'll work best with. For example, in one of the groups that I'm a part of, there's someone who helps people getting through breakups, and for her, there are different people, there are different types of breakups people go through, and different stages in that breakup journey. Someone who just got a divorce is not the same person as someone who's 6 months after a divorce. Um, at the beginning, they might be in a place where there's more pain, there's more anger, and they're not quite ready to keep moving on and like going through the process. Whereas 6 months later, they might be, okay, maybe I want to start dating again. I've learned, I've let go of that anger. I'm at this different place. So when you think of your how, it also affects your who, because the person who's angry, you may need to like focus on that part of it, versus later on you may need to focus on, okay, how do I build that confidence to go back out there. So part of the idea of these calls and why there are 6 of them and why they're going to go in depth is so that you can be more clear about who you're specifically speaking to, so that you're solving the right problem and attracting the right clients. So with all that, we'll also come up with a custom marketing strategy. So we can think of different services or products you provide and having those offer statements. So sort of like with Hanifa's tea brand, it's like, okay, this specific tea is for women and their menstrual cycle. But there might be other teas, and it's like, how do we come up with a good statement for each of them so that when it's time to sell, you are clear in what you're doing and you can talk to it more specifically. And we'll also create a number of social media sort of topic ideas, so that when it's time for you to go online, or when it's time for you to create a lead magnet, or when it's time to create these different implement these different marketing strategies, you'll have a list of ideas that are about you specifically. So that is a program that I'm sort of starting, and we will be talking about this more. I'll be giving more details out, but sort of those are the goals of the program. That's what it's going to be. My goal is for it to be, a short term, 1 month, so like 2 to 3 calls a week, so that we can get you progress. It's the end of the year now, and I know there'll be a lot of things happening around Black Friday in November. So if we can all get into November ready, ready to do our marketing, ready to hit the holiday season, it'll make us more effective and productive. So that is a program that I am inviting you all to, and there will be more information about that. Yeah. I also want to remind people about the free coaching call that you all get because you signed up. I put a link to it in the chat in the Facebook group yesterday, and I will be sending it out in a recap email. So we can talk about, you can get a free coaching call, and we can talk about what this program would look like for you and if you would like to do it. So lastly, the assignment for day 4, put your statement in the group. It will be helpful for others to see and for others to also jump into. We worked on some of these statements a little bit, and we can definitely keep upgrading them, because again, at the end of the day, I want each of you to get some benefit from this challenge. I want you all to have more clarity and focus, so that when it's time to market, you're dialed in, you're focused, you know what you're doing, you feel clear, and you can actually take action. At the end of the day, all of this information means nothing if we don't take any action. So put that in the group, and we can find ways to make it better. And one other thing is authenticity and integrity, right? Those are some of my values that I try to grow with. So if you had a statement, or if I said a statement and you're like, I don't like how it sounds, then it's a bad statement. We need to fix it, right? Anything that you're standing behind, you need to be fully there and fully present. And when you can see yourself in what you do, then it'll be much easier for you to stand out front and go out in the public and say, this is what I do, and you'll be ready for it. So today's assignment is this, assignment day 4. There's one other thing that I wanted to do today, but I'm not gonna have time because I didn't find the right raffle thing yet. But later today, I will be taking account of all the people who did all the assignments so far. I will be taking account of all the people who showed up live on specific days, and I'm going to put it all into a thing, and then I'm going to like hit a button, and it's going to spin the wheel, and whoever it lands on will be getting that gift card, and I will be reaching out to you. You will see me do the spinning, and we'll see who gets it, and we'll catch up later in those DMs. Whew. So, that is what's going on. And the last thing I will say is my business mentor has this quote. It's like, love is the greatest business strategy, and whoever can love their customers more will win. And I just love it because it converted my mindset from one of like, business is money and doing this and how do I get people to pay me, to like, wait a minute, how am I actually serving? And the reasons why we were talking about the who, the what, the how is, for me, sometimes like love is like ways I express love is by understanding someone, is by asking questions, is by getting to know them more. So the more you're able to understand your who, the more you're able to understand the what of their problems and the outcomes that they want, and how you bring yourself to it, you're able to then say, you know what, I truly love this offer, I love this business, and here's how I can show up better. So may love be a strategy that we all use to serve our customers, serve those in our communities, and grow as queer entrepreneurs all around. It went way longer than I thought we would, and I think I had a 1 o'clock meeting that I might have missed, but I am glad for everyone who's been able to join me this week. These replays will be available for maybe another week, and then they sort of come down. That's sort of part of the challenge. It's saying this is a limited time experience. So thank you all for joining, and we might be having a bonus session in the next couple days where I can take more questions and may talk about some other next steps. So I hope you all enjoyed today and this week. The replays will be available, and the Facebook group will be there. So thanks again for showing up and for engaging, and I will be in touch with all of you later. So have a good day, everyone.